Welcome back. President Cyril Ramaphosa has outlined his plan to deal with state capture and prevent its reoccurrence. He addressed the nation on Sunday after submitting a 76-page report detailing his response to the findings of the State Capture Commission to Parliament. The reaction has been swift. Some have hailed the plan, but the DA says it condemns Ramaphosa's failure to uphold the findings of the Commission that ANC cadre deployment is unconstitutional and illegal. Well, let's bring you more analysis now from a former Deputy Public Protector. Advocate Kevin Malunga is now the Regenesys School of Law head. Advocate, thank you for being with us. Firstly, overall, do you think the President's response and the way he's handling this report is adequate given the aberration that state capture was and the damage it caused?
I think he's tried. The challenge is, in this contested political space, you have to try a lot harder. Very few people currently have faith in the rule of law, especially your so-called educated elites. So I have a sense that, and not just the elites, but the ordinary person has a sense that there are different rules for the powerful and the not so powerful, and I think that's where the President needs to plug the gaps.
What do you think about the criticism for his silence on cadre deployment, which means, of course, that favourites of the ANC were sometimes in charge rather than the best person for the job? He has outlined some plans and independent panels, for example, to vet appointments. Ministers and board members won't be able to do business with state companies. That will be very clear, and nobody will be able to donate to a party expecting to get a tender. So he's announcing issues without sort of abolishing cadre deployment. What do you think of those plans?
It's interesting. Look, it's a valid attempt to explain the issue. But remember, Francis, there's been the Public Administration Management Act, known as PAM, which prohibits government officials from doing business with the state. And that hasn't stopped people from pulling stunts in the background. Remember, people can meet surreptitiously in secret and plan these things. So some of these things are very difficult to stop at inception. But I think what government and the state can do is strengthen the hand of law enforcement to say, if you do this, you are toast. This is what we do to you. So I think for a very long time, people have known that they can get away with it. And a very significant period of that, significant aspect of that period of the so-called state capture years was that people did things with impunity, including the SABC where you work. So the dynamic really has to be about consequence management. And I think the President is in a very tight space when it comes to cadre deployment, because this is an election year for him. So he can't exactly ruffle too many feathers. He needs some of those people for his own political survival. So that's a very tricky space that he has to navigate. But that said, that doesn't stop him from reassuring the public that he is serious about his executive powers. It's a very delicate dance for him, as I would say, because this year in December, if he pushes too hard, some of those people are delegates. They may not want him in there.
So you're right, because there's this coming together of a very important ANC event while he has to deal with these state issues. And you're right, Advocate, changing the law doesn't always deal with ethics. Most of the recommendations are about nailing the bad guys, affecting the NPA. They have to investigate a whole lot of people now and organizations involved in state capture. Have the moves to beef up the MPA, are those enough? One of the moves is to make the special directorate permanent. Can it be as formidable as the old Scorpions it's been compared to?
I think, Francis, this is really about walking the talk. From about 2013 to about 2016, people knew the Office of the Public Protector as a formidable office that they had never heard of. They've never seen it on fire like that. And we're not talking about the big stories. We're even talking about ordinary people's things, where we used to go out to communities and with a very minuscule budget be able to punch above our weight. Organizations such as the NPA have very competent and clever people in there. But they need to stop blowing hot air. There's been a lot of talk over the years, a lot of hype, this and that, we're going to do this and that. But we never see a lot of these things happening. So I think this is the opportunity to actually say, look, given the powers extended powers and mandate that you're going to be given, and probably more funding, etc., what are you going to do about it? Because I think, to be fair to them, there wasn't an appetite for many years to see them succeed. There was really rather an appetite to see them flop. They were a damn squib for many years. So, and very often there's a lot of talk. I think in my own experience with these investigations, you can just talk and identify things. But if you don't do your forensics, if you don't, you're not able to prove what you're alleging, you're not going to get very far. If we say Francis Heard was seen stealing a packet of chips in Sandton, right now, today, on the 25th of October at 17:30, we know she was in the SABC studio. It's a forensic investigation. You need to show that, look, you need to prove these things. So very often there's a lot of talk without bite. So a lot of toothless bulldogs, as it were.
Well, thank you for setting me free after implicating me, Advocate. Finally, we've got a minute left, and names were named, including ministers. He said he'll review the findings of the executive. Some had hoped for action now. Now, if he was a good president, forget all the ANC shenanigans, what should he do with the findings of the commission against Gwede Mantashe, for example, against the Deputy Minister of State Security, Zizi Kodwa?
I'm not going. Look, what I'm going to say is that don't expect abracadabra situations in this. This is politics as well. There's lawfare, and I don't expect him to kick out his political allies. That would be too politically risky. So the question, he now has to think about his own legacy. His own legacy post his presidency. His own life legacy, to say, look, what did I achieve in this role? Did I put myself before the state? Did I put party before state? Did I put the people of the country first? So it's a very delicate dynamic, and I think he means well, but he's in a very tight corner in the sense that there are very powerful forces that constrain him as well, and of course his own issues that he has to deal with concerning the dollars and so forth. But I think in terms of compliance with the provisions of the report, he has complied. That's all I can say at this stage.
All right, thanks. And I think you're drawing out the nuances. He's head of state, but also a politician after all. Thank you very much. The Regenesys School of Law head and former Deputy Public Protector Advocate Kevin Malunga.